Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the weekly kickoff. All right, now, no surprise, Monday morning in Asia, we are starting to see a bit of a short squeeze in the dollar, right? And the dollar is rallying against a bunch of pairs, and it's no surprise, right? Monday open in Asia, right? The European and North American markets, where the bulk of the liquidity is, hasn't come online yet. So you often see moves against the general trend, and you quite often see a bit of a fake out move on the Monday. And that's exactly what we're seeing at the moment. Now, just having a look at the news, there's not much in there. Dollar faces crunch week for US rates, yen holds gains. There's basically no fresh news here, right? And actually, just having a look at the quick start sort of breaking news, nothing significant in there that tells me that the dollar should be rallying at the start. Now, Monday's great day to get your charts aligned, right? Do your analysis. Have a look what's going on. Don't get suckered into trading just because you think there's a move happening, right? This is a time where the moves don't make sense, okay? Now, if you're looking at any of these markets, right, let me just come back to this. There's one that you should be looking at all week, right? Or from this point on, right? Dollar yen. Now, they're talking about interest rate hikes in Japan and a whole range of things. This is where dollar yen has come from, okay? This is on the hourly charts. And now it's just starting to roll over. This thing is the best trending instrument globally, right? I know the equity indices can trend when things get going, but dollar yen, it's a beast. And when it goes, you've got to be a part of it. So to me, like looking at the market, so I can talk about what's coming out this week with non-farm payrolls and all these sorts of things. But what you need to be able to do is focus on the instruments that are trending, right? The yen crosses all going down, right? Aussie yen, Kiwi yen, CAD yen, Euro yen, Sterling yen, Swiss yen, right? The yen is going up against everything. So switch on and look for opportunities to get into the yen at all costs, right? Sure, there could be a left field event, but if there isn't, this thing is going to keep trending down. Now, just on the week that's coming up, right? There's no major central banks with any announcements this week. Okay, so don't worry so much about that. Okay, everyone's pretty much locked in. If anything, the Bank of Canada, I'll be looking at the stuff that's line ball, right? 52% chance of a 0.25% cut and almost, 48% chance of a 50 basis point cut in Canada, right? The economic scenario in Canada is completely messed up, right? This is where I think the Aussie will be going in the early next year, where they aren't just cutting, they're cutting aggressively to try and catch up. The Fed, well, they're on track just to cut by 0.25, as is the ECB. Bank of Japan, this is where that hike is coming into play, 63% chance. Anyway, so that's where the central banks are. There's not a lot to sort of get yourself all bent out of shape about. Now, when it comes to the data, there's a lot of tier one, tier two numbers, tier three numbers coming out during the week. Keep an eye on the US numbers. The ISM manufacturing and non-manufacturing numbers, they're the ones to be looking at. And that'll set you up for more like the head kicker data, right? And I call it the head kicker because it just comes in and boots around the market. Talking about the US non-farm payrolls. And unfortunately, this month, it's one of those months where the Canadian employment numbers come out at the same time. Now, will the unemployment numbers change what the Fed are doing? Absolutely not. But it can give us short-term direction and a bit of momentum, right, as we go through the course of the week. Now, one thing as you go through the week, just keep an eye on the global markets. And I know I'm conscious that a lot of people don't understand how the markets work, but the treasury yields, right? There's a connection between the bonds. Think of the bonds as the interest rates. And then as if interest rates are up, borrowing costs are higher. So equities go down. And if equities are going down, Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi are down. It's a risk off profile, right? That's what you've got to be looking for. Because right now we have seen the US Treasury yields or the bonds top out. These things are going lower, which means equities go up. And they did aggressively on Friday. But right now we have a risk on profile. Equity futures are going down, which is Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi down and the dollar up. That's just to start the week in the Asian session. So don't get super excited and start rushing in. As I said, today, you don't really see genuine moves, but you can see how the markets are lining up. When the major currency pairs line up like this, I feel confident, especially when it matches up with what's happening in the equity markets. Euro's going down against most things. Okay, that's worth investigating. Sterling's going up against most things. That's worth investigating, right? These are the things you do on a Monday to try and work out what's going on. Don't just sit there and think, oh, non-farm payrolls Friday, that's the key to it. It's not. It's identifying where these instruments are going on an hourly and a daily perspective, and then trying to piece together where you can potentially get in. And as I said, like you've got to be looking at dollar yen, right? The yen. And if you want to make it a bit easier, take the US dollar out of the equation, because check out this yen cross page, which I already showed you. The yen crosses are starting to trend like your best friend, right? This is where the cash is. You need to be able to judge where to get in. And that's where Prime Time Pro comes into play. Now, for those traders who are new or joining us, okay, you can get up to speed in our Discord, get on the chat, work out what's going on, where the best trades are, and we can go from there. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.